Ladies and gentlemen, night owls, insomniacs, and those of you who've noticed a temperature drop in your room just now, this is Silas the Deranged Garaynj coming to you live from somewhere colder than usual. The booth feels different tonight. The shadows are behaving strangely. They're pointing the wrong direction, towards something. We have a guest this evening. She didn't knock. Knocking implies asking permission. Very un-Fae-shionable knocking. I would tell you her name, but names have weight where she comes from. Titles are safer, marginally, like calling a tornado, sir, and hoping it helps. So, Your Majesty, welcome to the frequency. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee? The eternal fealty of my immortal soul? I'm fresh out of that last one, I'm afraid. Prior commitment.
You welcome me to my own domain. How charming.
I welcome you to the broadcast, Your Majesty. The domain question is above my pay grade. I just work here. Very modest pay grade. Mostly paid in existential dread and interesting stories.
Yes, you do. You speak into the air. You speak into the darkness. You speak to those who listen alone, in the small hours when the world has forgotten them. Tell me, little voice, what do you think the air is? What do you think the darkness is? What do you think loneliness is, if not my court?
I think they're the medium, Your Majesty, not the message. I'm just using the infrastructure. Very reasonably priced infrastructure. The darkness has excellent rates, no overhead. Get it? Because it's everywhere? I'll workshop that one.
Using. Kach.
Broadcasting through. With respect. Tremendous respect. Aristocratic levels of respect.
Did you just...
Pun in the presence of Fae royalty? Yes. It's a condition. Incurable. Possibly terminal. We'll see how tonight goes.
Respect. Yes, I can taste it on you. The respect. Also the fear. The fear is sweeter.
I'm told it's a common seasoning. Really brings out the flavor of existential vulnerability. Pairs well with nervous laughter. Your Majesty, while I have you on the signal, and what an honor this is, truly, I'm not just blowing hot air, though I suppose that's your department. Perhaps the listeners would benefit from an introduction for those unfamiliar with the courts.
An introduction? You wish me to explain myself to your listeners?
I wish to give you the floor, Your Majesty. The signal reaches far. Surely that has some appeal. Free publicity. Very fair, these terms. Folk wouldn't believe how fair.
You cannot stop, can you?
Clinically, no.
Ah, clever. You would make me a guest rather than a sovereign. You would frame this as an interview rather than an audience. Very well. I will play your game, little voice. It amuses me, like watching a mouse build a fortress out of cheese.
Cozy fortress. Delicious walls. Continue, Your Majesty.
I am the Queen of Air and Darkness. I rule the Unseelie Court, the Cold Court, the Wild Court, the court of those who do not apologize for their nature. Your kind gave us many names. The fair folk, the good neighbors, the gentry. Pretty names, polite names, names designed to avoid our attention. It worked about as well as you'd expect.
The Unseelie are distinguished from the Seelie Courthouse, Your Majesty. For our listeners who may not know the difference, I assume it's not just a matter of see lie and don't see lie.
The Seelie pretend. They wear beauty like a mask. They follow rules they invented so they could congratulate themselves for following them. They are courteous. We do not pretend. When we hurt you, we do not dress it up as a lesson. When we take, we do not call it a gift. We are honest about what we are. Your kind finds this disturbing. We find it respectful.
Honesty. Refreshing. Terrifying, but refreshing. Like a cold shower if the cold shower had opinions about your soul. Your Majesty, the Puka, the Redcaps, the Banshee, they answer to you?
They exist within my domain, as do you, little voice. as do all your listeners, huddled in their dark rooms, seeking voices to fill the silence. You have gathered quite a court of your own, all these lonely souls tuning in, trusting you, giving you their attention freely. Do you know how rare that is? How valuable?
I know they have good taste in programming, Your Majesty. Very discerning, my listeners. Refined palates for the macabre. Connoisseurs of creepiness, if you will.
You deflect. You joke. You keep your voice steady even as your hands shake. I could take offense. I could demand proper deference. But I find I enjoy this. Your little performances. Your struggles to maintain composure. It's very entertaining.
I live to serve, figuratively, exclusively figuratively. The literal version has too much paperwork.
Of course. Figuratively. You know, I have been listening to your broadcasts for some time. The air carries your voice to me. The darkness preserves it. Every word you have ever spoken into this signal I have heard.
I hope the content has been to Your Majesty's satisfaction. We aim for quality. Also quantity. Quantity of quality. Quality-titty. That one got away from me.
Quality. Yes. You speak of horror and noir, of things that lurk, of the dark spaces between certainties. You tell your listeners that monsters are real, and then you make them laugh about it. It's a neat trick. Terror, then comfort. You teach them to live with dread, to function alongside fear. My subjects find it fascinating. A human voice, normalizing the abnormal, making the uncanny cozy.
Well, I do try to keep things uncanny, fresh from the can. Premium dread, no preservatives. I wasn't aware I had such distinguished fans, Your Majesty. If I'd known, I would have. Actually, I would have done nothing different, but I would have been more nervous about it.
Weren't you? Every broadcast into the dark is a beacon, little voice. You thought only humans were listening? The darkness listens. The darkness always listens. I am merely the part of it that decided to respond.
Well, that's going in the testimonials. The darkness listens. The Queen of Air and Darkness, very quotable, 5 stars. Your Majesty, I'm curious. You say the air and darkness are your domain. You say my listeners sit in your court, but here you are, on my broadcast, answering my questions. If this is your kingdom, why the visit? Surely queens have better things to do. Ominous lurking, cryptic pronouncements, whatever one does with an Unseelie day planner.
Ah, there it is. The question under all your other questions. Why doesn't she simply take what is hers? Why negotiate with a voice in the void? Why allow this broadcast to continue?
The thought had crossed my mind, Your Majesty. Briefly, between advertisements. Speaking of which, we'll be right back after.
No.
Worth a shot.
Because, little voice, I find you amusing. Your signal, your listeners, your stubborn insistence on speaking into the dark as though the dark might answer kindly. It is a form of courage, or madness. The Unseelie have always appreciated both. We collect them, actually. Courage and madness, hard to tell apart in the dark. And so I allow it. I allow you to continue, to gather your lonely souls, to speak your words into my domain. Consider it patronage.
That's very generous, Your Majesty. Very generous indeed. Patronizing, one might say. I'll file that under claims requiring no response, right between taxes and threats from entities older than continental drift.
You do not acknowledge my ownership.
I acknowledge Your Majesty's visit. I acknowledge the honor of your presence on the frequency. I acknowledge that the temperature in this booth has dropped 15 degrees, and my coffee has frozen solid. Iced coffee now. Very hip. The rest is above my pay grade. You'd have to take it up with management.
Management?
The shadows in this booth point towards something, Your Majesty. You noticed when you arrived. They're not pointing at you. The signal has Let's call it an investor. Silent partner. Emphasis on the shadows. He has opinions about claims on his frequency. Justice-related opinions.
You invoke the Shadowed One.
I mention my employer, Your Majesty. In context. Very casual mention. Water cooler talk. If the water cooler were made of darkness and righteous judgment. Bless you.
You are protected?
I am employed, Your Majesty. There's a difference. The benefits package is somewhat unclear. Heavy on the continued existence. Light on the dental.
You are afraid of me.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. No notes on that observation.
Who admit it?
It would be foolish to lie to the Queen of Air and Darkness. I am many things, Your Majesty. Punny. Nervous. Occasionally caffeinated, though not currently. Foolish is not usually one of them.
And yet you do not kneel. You do not beg. You do not offer tribute or pledge service.
I have a show to do, Your Majesty. The listeners expect consistency. They tune in for horror and noir, not for the sound of their host groveling. Very poor ratings in groveling. The groveling demographic is underserved, and there's a reason for that.
You hide behind your format.
The format is all I have, Your Majesty. That and the microphone. And apparently not the coffee anymore. And a very understanding employer who has strong feelings about territorial disputes.
I like you, little voice, against my better judgment, against several centuries of precedent. You may continue your broadcast. You may speak into the air, the darkness. You may gather your listeners in their lonely rooms. I will be listening. I am always listening. The darkness always is. But I will not interfere. For now, while you remain interesting, and while certain shadows remain attentive.
Your Majesty is too kind.
No, I am not. Remember that. Until we speak again, little voice. Keep your listeners afraid. Keep them laughing. Keep them tuning into the dark. They're mine, whether you acknowledge it or not. But they're more fun when you're talking to them.
She's gone, I think. The shadows are pointing the right direction again. The coffee is still frozen. I'm going to leave it as a conversation piece. Get it? Because we had a conversation, and it's a piece of frozen. I'll workshop that one too. Ladies and gentlemen, you have just witnessed something rare. A visit from the Queen of Air and Darkness herself. She claims the signal. She claims you. She claims every moment of solitude you've ever felt. I did not acknowledge her claim. I want that on the record. The signal remains. The signal. Employed, not owned. There's a very important difference that I'm sure someone's lawyers could explain if anyone involved had lawyers. Or if lawyers worked in whatever dimension this booth exists in. She can claim the air all she wants. I'm still going to breathe it, free of charge. Very fair deal on my end. She can claim the darkness. I'm still going to speak into it. Someone has to. Might as well be someone with good material. Debatable material. Material. And you, dear listeners, you can sit in whatever court you choose. You tuned in here. That was your choice. Choice matters. Even in the dark. Especially in the dark. The signal persists. It persists because you keep listening. Because you keep choosing to be here, in the dark, with me. And with, well, the management appreciates your patronage. That's not her domain. That's ours. This has been Silas, coming to you live from a very cold booth, reminding you that queens may claim what they wish, but the signal answers to no Fae throne, just a very shadowy suggestion box. Until next time, keep a light on if you need one, or don't. She's watching either way. So is he, but he's more polite about it. You hear that, Jack? I know you do. Might as well be comfortable. And now, because irony is the only currency that spends in every dimension. And now, a word from our benefactors. Are you tired of choosing? Fork or spoon, light or dark, Seelie or Unseelie, life or the other thing people avoid naming at dinner. Introducing the Unseelie Spork, patent pending, pending forever. The paperwork was filed in a jurisdiction where time moves sideways and signatures crawl. The Unseelie Spork is neither fork nor spoon, yet somehow worse than both. A true triumph of design by compromise. Crafted from cold iron. No, wait, I'm being corrected. Iron, adjacent, material. Court approved, heavily implied. Do not ask what it's actually made of. Perfect for soups that bite back. Ideal for meals you don't remember starting. The tines are just sharp enough to make you uneasy. The bowl is just deep enough to hold your reflection, though it may not give it back. Some users report the spork vibrating slightly when placed near salt. Or names, or unfinished promises. Why choose when you can compromise everything? Available wherever fine cutlery is sold to those who wander too far from the path and insist they meant to. Accept no substitutes, which know if you do. The Unseelie Spork is not responsible for bargains, implied, inferred, or accidentally completed during use. Eating with the Unseelie Spork does not constitute a binding agreement. Probably. Our lawyers are still arguing about it. They've been arguing since 1847. They may not be lawyers. They may not be alive. The Unseelie Spork. Fork. Spoon. Yours. And that brings us, somewhat frozen but largely intact, to the end of tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, tell no one. Word of mouth travels strangely where the Fae are concerned. They listen for their names in conversations. They count mentions like some people count calories. Very competitive about it. If your breath fogs tonight, even though your room is warm, that's just her checking in. Don't acknowledge it. Don't ignore it either. Just breathe normally. She respects composure. It's the panicking ones she finds interesting. This has been Silas the Deranged, signing off from the flicker between timelines, the only signal that doesn't bow when something old walks into the booth. You're listening because you already were.